Hello everyone and welcome to my page, Messages from Venus. Today I'm going to do a little video about polarity. That yin and yang, good and evil, Jesus versus Lucifer, God versus the devil. In my eyes, in my perspective, maybe some of you will disagree, others will have questions, others just won't give a damn. But this topic is important to me and because I lived that life already. 25 years old, and I already lived that good and bad, evil this, and good is that, and da 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 da. And um, I decided to make this video because one, the topic kept coming up. I was talking to a couple of my friends over this past week, like maybe two or three of my friends. And I have not came out to a lot of my friends as a witch. They know I'm a little weird, or I have a woo, or I'm a little different, or I think differently. Some of them still think I'm a Christian, as in like a Pentecostal Christian or a Catholic Christian. So it's important to me to let you guys know what my thoughts are. Because with these friends that I had a conversation with, they are still stuck on good and evil, what is right, what is wrong, not taking responsibility for their own actions, or not knowing their goddesshood, not understanding anything other than the Bible. And I'm not making this video to bash anybody or to call Christians out or to talk about Christians, because I believe in the Christ energy. I just don't believe in the book and this nonsense they feed people, in my opinion. And not to bash my friends either. It's just, I mean, if you don't know anything, if you don't know a different perspective, and you're not having people talk to you about that perspective, or what they think, or what polarity really is, and where it came from, or where Lucifer came from, and what it really means to be Lucifer, or vibe in that frequency, you're not gonna question anything. You're not gonna question anything outside of your world, or outside of Christianity, or outside of your vibration, because that's what you're used to. That's what your mom and your father induced into you. So some people just don't get out of that. So it's not to bash anybody. It's just we had a lot of interesting conversations and back and forth, and it was astonishing to me that they had no idea that Lucifer came from God. He was one of the first gods that some people may say created himself, or that God created. And the reason why, in their mind, is just, oh, he was just a fallen angel, and then he just decided that this was going to be it. And they don't look beyond that. So I am here to give you the story from my perspective, and maybe a couple of other people's perspectives. I've seen a couple of people talk about it on YouTube, or just have conversations about it. And so yeah, now I'm gonna talk. So the definition of polarity is two opposites, and I'm looking over here because I wrote a couple of notes just so that I don't forget things that are important for me to tell you. So polarity is the two opposites in religion, or in the spirituality, and outside of the religious realm or the religious sector. It is two opposites, the antithesis, having poles, or the direction of magnetic or electronic fields, the positive and the negative, Jesus and Lucifer, God and the devil. Or what some people might call, or let me see, another example in another culture or religious, it's let's see, it's like Zeus and Hades, or the dimension where Zeus is and Hades. So it's all the same thing. In my opinion, it's all the same thing. And we need both. We need good and evil. But the trick is for you not to stay within that just good and evil. Um, and with that being said, I have a Christian background. I was raised a Catholic. I converted into Christian Pentecostal within my awareness and my journey, my spiritual journey, which I talk about in my intro video. Um, it was difficult because I lived that life, like I said. I lived that good and evil, good versus evil, or evil versus good. And at the end of the day, when you're in the middle of a battle like that, just take yourself out of the equation, and then once you do, you become a god, because you have your own perspective. Nobody's managing you but your higher self. You manage yourself. You manage your own actions. With that being said, in the Christ energy, not in the Jesus Christ, not in the Catholic energy, not in the Christian energy, in the Christ consciousness. When you research about Christ consciousness, polarity is important. Polarity is one of the universal laws that is in play. The reason being is because for you to be able to understand Christ, or the Christ energy, or the God particle, you need to have an opposite. This world wasn't created for you to just be on one side. And I know a lot of Christians, they stay there, like, oh, we the good always has to be on top of the bad. Like, they don't ever embrace the bad because of their perspective and how they were trained that the bad really is. The bad was put in place for you to learn and enjoy the experience. If you don't have the bad, you can't learn, and never would you ever appreciate the good or the positive. Unfortunately, that's how it works. And I think that's, like, in my mind, in my opinion, it is the only way. It is the only way you can ever achieve God or goddesshood. It is the only way that your soul can be released from the energies of good and evil always bumping heads. Because once you learn to embrace both, you become the Christ consciousness. You go into the quote unquote darkness. And one of my favorite YouTubers, which I'm subscribed to, her name is Ashira Star Goddess. She talks about what the darkness is, in her opinion. And it's not, the darkness is not the evil. It is the actual darkness in the universe. That's where the God particle resides. That his throne is the universe. That masculine energy, that God particle, his throne is the universe in which he creates. But back to polarity. If Lucifer would have never existed, if the devil would have never existed, if you would never have that deity, you would never be able to see beyond what's put on in play for you. For example, I'm going to explain it to you in layman's terms. If you have, checking my candles here, if you have a child who is constantly given everything, you have a table full of food, toys, and everything is always given to this child. It's very rare that that child will ever grow up to appreciate what's on top of that table. So if the God particle would have created souls that were only meant to do good, you would have never appreciated the fact that you came from a creator, so therefore you can also create yourself. And the God particle, or the creator, or the source, or the divine, created Lucifer for that reason. He has a purpose. And within God's ability to just zap somebody, or the creator to just erase or take away, or take away that energy of Archangel Lucifer when he was an archangel. He could have done it in the snap of his fingers, but you know what? That wasn't the purpose of Archangel Lucifer. Because the God particle knows everything. He lives within everything. So, again, Lucifer was created for that. He was given willpower so that then he can become a quote unquote fallen angel. Because he couldn't be in the same vibration as the God particle anymore. Why? Because he became his own. He created his own. He created the quote unquote underworld. He created that world in which he thought was okay. I'm not quite sure if I'm making sense, but I'll tell you this. If you guys leave comments, or you guys can email me about any questions you might have about the topic, then do so. And I will answer them via a vlog or a video response. But back to polarity. When Lucifer decided that he was just like, you know what, fuck this. I'm not going to stay here. We've created this together, because yes, you created me, but you created me to assist you. But now you want to tell me that I can't have willpower. Now you want to tell me I can't do such and such. I can't do whatever the fuck I want to do. That's not going to work for me. So I'm walking out the door. Do you guys really think that God, who was his creator, because they do come from somewhere, and they meaning archangels, souls, you, starseeds, they come from that universal God. Not the God in the Bible, but the universal God. If he didn't have a purpose, do you really think that God would have allowed him to just get out of that frequency, where he was an archangel? No. Okay? Because he knew everything. He knew that this was going to happen. That being, that consciousness, knew that Lucifer was going to help him create a world of duality. Create a world in where you have the choice to create different things. There's not just one frequency. There's various frequencies. Why? Because there were consciousness or beings or deities, such as Lucifer or the devil or Satan, however you want to call him, that had a choice, the willpower, to create that frequency. Because, and I'm going to quote the Bible, not because I'm picking on anybody, it's because that's where I come from. So that's what I'm going to quote. That's what I'm going to talk to you from. When God, there was nothing. There was just, darkness. There was just absolutely nothing. It was the nothing. The universe was the nothing. God started creating. I would like for somebody to answer me where the fuck they thought Lucifer came from. And yes, I'm cursing because we're all adults here. Yes, I am cursing up a fucking storm. So, if these beings or demons or Satan or Lucifer that are part of the polarity, that is the polarity within themselves, was so bad, then God would have never created. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying that people should just run the world and run around the world doing negative things to one another or hurting one another. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're one of those people that is approached with a quote-unquote negative situation in your life, depending on your perspective, embrace it, because there's nothing bad, there's nothing bad that can come from you embracing the negative, because you know that there's something behind that you need to learn. So if somebody hurts your emotions, if you're in a relationship and somebody cheats on you, there's something about you that needed to be fixed within that relationship. Maybe you needed to stand up for yourself. Maybe you needed to pay that person, or maybe you needed to pay karmic debt from a past life with that person. So it is important for people to acknowledge the positive and the negative, embrace it when it comes to you, or how other people might think, or might say, not think, but I believe it is possible that you control when the positive and the negative comes to you, and that's also achieving God and goddesshood. So when you hear people talking about, oh, the devil and Satan, look at what he's doing, he's tempting people, you're allowing him to test you. You're allowing that to happen. Even if you say, or you're in a situation where you didn't know that a certain situation was going to happen to you, or somebody was going to hurt you, there's always a sign. Even if the sign is the smallest sign coming from the universe, there is always a sign to let you know that that is going to happen. Whether you realize consciously or unconsciously that that sign was there, or you not realize, but you acknowledge that that sign came to you or not, the fact of the matter is that it came to you. Not that you saw it, or that you were aware of that consciously or unconsciously. So please, for those of you who are watching my channel, for those of you who are watching my video, polarity is important. I know that the Christian way, or the Catholic way, or anybody else that reads the Bible or follows the Bible might say, you know what, but now you're being a hypocrite, because, my God says that you should always go against the negative. You should always try to rebuke demons or rebuke certain situations in your life. Yes, you should. You should also do that. But before you do that, acknowledge that that situation, or that negative situation, or that positive situation came to you for a reason. So before you start rebuking it, analyze the situation. Like, hold on, wait a minute. Why am I in the situation right here? Why are these energies affecting me? Is this something that I have to change within myself? Is this, do I have to speak out more? Do I have to change something about myself? Is it karmic debt? Maybe some people might say, you know what? Who the fuck has time to think about negative situations in that manner when they're happening to you right there and then? And my answer to that is, if you train your mind and you reprogram your mind to see small things or small negative things that happen to you, or small positive things that happen to you, when the serious situation comes, when the big issues come, your mind is already programmed. Like, hold on, wait a minute. I got 2.5 seconds to figure it out, and you're going to figure it out. It's going to come like this. But it takes practice. It takes a different perspective of what polarity is and what Lucifer represents. Now, it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done, but the only thing that you can do is start. So if you start during the day, and let's say you work in an office and people over the phones are giving you an attitude, or your boss is giving you an attitude, instead of reacting to that attitude, you give it positive energy. Don't feed into that vibration, so that your mind can then understand, okay, I've seen this vibration before. I don't want to be part of that. Or your consciousness, your higher self, your spirit will acknowledge, like, I don't want to be part of that. I'm not going to feed into that. And you're going to be like, you know what, sir, ma'am, let's figure out a way where we can figure this out. And if it takes for you to just be the bigger person, then be the bigger person. If you do this every day, even if it's like with your children, and you're like, I want to just kill these damn kids, breathe, inhale, exhale, and then look at it from a different perspective. Polarity is, to me, the two opposites that can grant you your ticket to God and goddesshood, and you must embrace both of them. Because I honestly don't believe that anything in this world exists without a negative, or having a positive. So you can't have just one and not the other. And once people understand that, they will understand to not judge each other. They would understand to look at people such as myself, that are witches or practicing a different type of religion or following, see it in a different perspective, allow other people to grow, have better relationships. Once you perfect that law or universal law of polarity, it'll be the key to everything else. It is the key to everything else. Once you understand that, put it into practice. And don't listen to me. Put it into practice. Go out there and put it into practice. Tomorrow, you're going to work, whatever it is that you do for a living, and somebody gives you a negative attitude. You're like, you know what? I'm going to give you the opposite. And something's got to give. I promise you. Something has got to give. If somebody gives you a positive attitude and you're in that same frequency, like you're in a positive attitude, the person's giving you a positive attitude, those positive energies and those vibrations go higher. If somebody's giving you a negative attitude and you're giving that person a negative attitude, then those vibrations will also go higher. But do you really want that? Do you really, really want that? And sometimes it takes you mirroring somebody to understand the law of polarity. It is the key. I mean, if you put it, I promise you, if you put it into practice, it is the key to your God and goddesshood. And yes, I will be making a video about my opinion of gods and goddesses, and how I honestly believe that all souls and all humans can reach that frequency. Whether you use other deities to get there, whether you realize that or not, whether you go from being a Christian to non-Christian, to a believer to non-believer, then it doesn't matter what route you take. Like, it doesn't matter where you're coming from. It matters that you take the journey to get there. As long as you're taking that journey to get to your God and goddesshood and reach your purpose within those energies, life becomes much easier, I feel, in my opinion. So that is my video, you guys, about polarity. If you guys have any questions, the lighting in here is very good, so I look shiny, but I'm not. If you guys have any questions, if you want me to do a video response to one of your questions, I will more than gladly do so, because I love it when people question everything. Question me, and I'll respond in a video response. Question everything that comes your way within your spiritual path, because then once you question, you get the response, whether it's the response that you want or not, then you know which path to take, and it is your path for the taking. So again, you guys, thank you so much for watching my videos. Like, share, subscribe, comment, dislike, email me, and I will leave all the links below to where you can find me. Bye.